Me and my wife Cheryl were starting a new life. New house, wide green lawn, and behind our property, a thick, endless forest. The first 2 nights were peaceful, silent, beautiful. But on the third night, it felt like someone rang a bell that only fear could hear. Buying a new house is supposed to be a happy beginning, but sometimes, from the back door of happiness, something dark slips in, something that never leaves. When we moved to this part of Georgia, everyone told us, "This place is very peaceful. Even the birds sound like music here." Yes, they were right, but what they didn't know was that the forest had a music of its own. Music humans aren't supposed to hear. Only the chosen ones can hear it. And somehow, we became part of those chosen ones. On the third night, barely 20 minutes after we turned off the lights to sleep, music began playing. Loud, old, very, very old music. It was a 1940s song, "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?" The song was so clear, it felt like a speaker was placed under our bedroom floor. Cheryl and I stared at each other. Both of us had the same question in our eyes. Where the hell is this coming from? I opened the window. The sound got even clearer. And then I realized it wasn't coming from our backyard. It was coming from inside the forest. A cold heaviness settled inside my stomach. I grabbed a flashlight, opened the back door, and stepped out. I had taken maybe 4 steps when the music stopped. Not slowly, not fading. It cut off instantly. Like someone heard my footsteps and shut the radio off. The air felt dead. No wind, no insects, no sound. It felt like the forest was holding its breath, waiting for something. I walked back, shut the door, and lied to Cheryl. Probably some kids messing around, don't worry. But the truth was, I was already breaking inside. The next night, we decided to sleep early, but the moment we turned the lights off, the music returned. This time the song was "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." Old, yet crystal clear, like someone was standing right outside our bedroom window. But this time, the volume was much louder. Cheryl grabbed my arm. "This is not kids. Someone is out there." I looked through the window. Moonlight lay across the backyard. Everything looked normal, except something was lying on the grass, a rectangular black object, like an old box. Uneasiness crawled up my spine, but curiosity was stronger. I stepped outside slowly. It was an old radio, broken, covered in moss, as if it had been buried in the forest dirt for decades. And right then, the dial lit up. The radio turned on by itself. The same song began to play again. My hands began trembling. Then, "Run!" Cheryl's scream sliced through the night. "There are people standing behind you!" I spun around. At the tree line, 3 people were standing, frozen, absolutely still, facing us. Their clothes looked like they belonged to the 1940s. No movement, no blinking, just silhouettes and the music. I dropped the radio and sprinted back inside, locked the door, dialed 911 with shaking hands. "There are people in my backyard. Please send someone." Police arrived, shined their flashlights into the forest, but there was no one. Only cold air and that old radio on the ground. One officer picked it up. The moment his hand touched it, the music stopped. He inspected it and muttered, "This is a 1940 model. These radios don't exist anymore." I swallowed hard. "Did you see anyone out there?" He shook his head. "No, but there have been similar reports in this area. Old songs, playing at night. Locals call it Georgia woods music." A chill stabbed straight through me. After the police left, we hoped things would calm down. But we were wrong. At 2:47 a.m. that night, a faint glow appeared under our front door. I opened it, and there it was, the same radio. The police had taken it an hour earlier. Now it was on our porch. Beside it were long, heavy drag marks, like something huge had carried it here. The radio switched on by itself. The song was, "I'll Be Seeing You." But this time, the voice was echoing like someone was walking toward our house while singing it. Cheryl whispered, "It's not human. It's not human." I tried calling the police again, but instead of ringing, the line shrieked with a loud static scream and disconnected, like someone cut the wires. The next day, I decided to ask around. I met an old man who had lived there his entire life. When I told him everything, his face went pale. He spoke slowly. "Son, back in 1943, a family lived here. 3 people. Their hobby was to listen to music deep inside the forest. One night, they disappeared. All that was found was their radio, still playing." My voice shook. "Were their bodies ever found?" He shook his head. "No. People say they still wander in the forest, and when a new family moves in, they call them out with music." I felt my legs weaken. The old man added, "This forest returns voices, and anyone who hears its music is never really left alone." That night we decided to leave the house for good, but before we could, something happened that froze our souls. While packing, the house suddenly filled with music, but not from the radio. The song was coming from the walls. Every wall, every room, every window, the entire house was singing, "Tiptoe through the tulips." The front door creaked open on its own. Outside was our backyard, and beyond it, the forest, silent, waiting. Slowly, 3 shadows stepped out from behind the trees. My bag dropped from my hands. Cheryl whispered, "We can't leave. It won't let us go." I grabbed her arm, slammed the door shut. We sat inside, shaking, until the first sunlight appeared. The moment the sun rose, we ran. We didn't look back. We drove straight out of that place and never returned. We bought a new house, in a new city, far away from that forest. We thought it was all over. But last night, at 3:12 a.m., on our apartment balcony, something was lying there. The radio. It turned on by itself. The same song. "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?" My hands shook as I opened the dusty back panel. Inside was a photograph, black and white, dated 1943. 3 people standing together, smiling. Behind them, our old house. And under the photo, a handwritten line, "We will be seeing you." Those 3 figures were never seen again. But our old house? It still stands in front of the forest. And forests don't joke. And maybe the forest never intended to let us go. It was 12:15 a.m. I was driving home from work. On my right side stretched a tall, dense cornfield. On my left, an endless wall of black, silent forest. My convertible's top was down. The night was warm, the wind barely moving. Everything felt like the world was asleep. I was driving calmly when a woman screamed. Not a normal scream, a soul-tearing, desperate scream. "Help! Please help me!" My heart slammed against my ribs. The scream was so close, so sharp. It felt like she was standing right next to my car. I braked instantly, turned the engine off, and then silence. Only a faint, restless breeze, the kind that always comes right before danger. The scream had come from inside the forest, very clearly. I stayed in the car for a few seconds, tried to convince myself it was my imagination, but then it came again. "Help me! Somebody, please!" There was no doubt now. Someone was calling for help. I flung open the door, grabbed my work baton, and stepped toward the dark line of trees. I didn't know what waited for me inside, but whatever it wasn't human. The moment I stepped inside the forest, the temperature dropped unnaturally, as if something tried to push me back out. I kept walking, my flashlight breaking through the trees in thin, weak beams. Then again, "Help!" But this time something felt wrong. The voice was identical to the first cry. Same tone, same pitch, same intensity, exactly the same. I kept walking, pushing branches aside, stepping over rocks. But no matter how far I went, the voice stayed the same distance away. Not closer, not farther, just the same. It didn't make sense. I shouted, "Where are you? Give me a sign." The reply came instantly, "Help!" But now, there was a slight smile in the voice. My feet froze. That voice wasn't human. It was mimicking a human, imitating panic, pretending to be terrified. My hands began to shake. I raised the flashlight toward the direction of the voice, but there was nothing. No movement, not even disturbed leaves. No shadow, no broken branch. Just the voice, always near, always far, as if it was walking right beside me, yet staying invisible. I gathered my courage and shouted again, "If you're really human, come where I can see you. I'm here to help." The answer, "Help, help, help." But now, a faint crackling sound had mixed with the voice, like someone stuck inside a broken speaker. I took one more step forward, and suddenly the voice came from 3 directions at once: left side of the forest, right side, and directly behind me. "Help me!" Every voice had the exact same tone. Fear struck me in its purest form. This wasn't a woman. This was something else. Something that could copy a voice perfectly, but couldn't understand emotion. The forest smell grew heavier, rotten. My instincts were screaming, "Trap! Leave now!" I turned around and sprinted toward the edge of the forest, but as soon as I ran, the voice ran with me. Same distance, same pitch, same speed. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" It didn't want me to leave. It wanted me deeper. It wanted me lost. I was running so hard my lungs burned. Branches cut my face. Dirt filled my shoes. But the voice, still right there. Same distance, like it was glued to my ear. At one point, it felt like the scream came from right behind my neck. I yelled and ran faster. Finally, I burst out of the forest, stumbling onto the asphalt road. My car was still there, but the driver's door was half open. I know I had closed it. A cold shock stabbed down my spine. The voice was still coming, but this time not from the forest. It came from the right side of the road, then the left, then behind me, and then from directly above the road. "Help me!" I dove into the car, slammed the door shut, and turned the key. The engine roared alive. I sped away like the devil was chasing me. But just before the forest disappeared in my rearview mirror, I saw them. 2 bright eyes watching me from inside the trees. Not human, not animal, but something that copies shapes, copies voices, and waits for someone foolish enough to trust the sound of a scream. A week passed. I still trembled thinking about that night. I changed my route, avoided that road completely. But then, a breaking news report flashed on TV. A woman's body has been found deep inside the forest. No injuries, no signs of attack, just dead. I stared at the screen. The reporter continued. Police estimate she died at least 1 week ago, meaning the night she disappeared, she died that same night. My blood drained from my face. 1 week ago? The exact night I heard those screams. But if she died the same night she went missing, then whose screams did I hear? I never used those forest roads again. But sometimes, exactly at 12:15 a.m., the wind passing by my parked car whispers the same thing. Help me. And I know, it's not the woman. It's still in that forest, waiting, calling, searching for another pair of footsteps, for another human who will hear a scream and walk toward it. And even today, I ask myself, whose screams did I hear? And who, or what, is still waiting out there? Arizona nights are strangely silent. Not the normal kind of silence, but the kind that feels intentional, as if the entire desert is holding its breath, watching you. And in the middle of that silence, I was sitting alone in the Airbnb living room, laptop open, preparing for my interview the next morning. It was around 9 p.m. The house was small but neat. A ceiling fan rotated slowly above me, the lights were dim, and a cool desert breeze slipped in through the window cracks. I was typing notes when, tap, right on the window, like someone flicked their finger against the glass. I froze. For one full second, it felt like the entire room stopped moving. Even my heartbeat skipped, a heavy pause inside my chest. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. Darkness. Nothing but darkness. Arizona nights are dark anyway, but right then that darkness felt deeper, almost alive. I stood up quietly, walked to the window, and peeked outside. Nothing. Just an empty desert night, motionless, breathless, like something was out there, hiding on purpose. I tried calming myself. Probably a bug. Arizona bugs are huge, but my gut didn't buy it. I pulled the curtains shut, dimmed the lights, and went back to my laptop. But from that moment on, my mind kept drifting back to the window, anticipating another sound. My interview went pretty well the next day. I felt lighter, so in the evening I sat outside in the backyard. Arizona sunsets are beautiful. Orange skies, golden sand, the desert glowing like it's on fire. I sat on a lawn chair sipping a cold drink, enjoying the quiet. What I didn't know was that someone was already watching me, quietly, without blinking. I looked around, silent land, distant shrubs, the same strange stillness. But something felt off. It wasn't peaceful silence. It was the kind of silence that listens. For half a second, I felt like someone was standing behind a bush. But when I stared directly, nothing. I shrugged it off, went inside. If I had stayed outside just 5 seconds longer, I might have seen the dark figure step out and slip back into the desert shadows. At night, I was watching Breaking Bad. The indoor lights were low, and the screen glow danced across the walls. Then, suddenly, tap! Same sound, same place, same sharpness. I jumped to my feet, walked straight to the window, leaned in close to the glass. But outside? Nothing again. This time my brain whispered, and I knew it was right. That wasn't an insect. Someone is out there. Someone is watching you. My heart tightened. I went to the back door, switched on the outside lights, and looked around. Desert breeze brushed my face, but the air felt wrong, like someone was standing just beyond the light, holding their breath, and staring directly at me. Then, click, a sharp tongue click sound. It came from far beyond the circle of light, from the edge where darkness begins. A chill raced through my entire body. I shouted, "Who's there? Come out!" Then, click, clearer, closer, human. I stared into the blackness, squinting, trying to see past the darkness. And then I saw it. A man, black shirt, black jeans, black jacket, standing perfectly still, silent, staring at me. I saw him for barely 2 seconds, but it felt like those 2 seconds stretched into minutes. I stepped forward, and instantly he turned and ran into the darkness. Not like a normal person. Faster, strangely silent, almost unnatural. I stood frozen, my breath shaking. That night I lay on the bed, lights off, room dim. Only the soft glow from my laptop remained. I watched 2 episodes, feeling tired. I closed the laptop lid, set it aside, and shut my eyes. Barely 10 seconds passed when, click, my eyes snapped open. The sound didn't come from the window. It came from inside the room, from the closet. The closet door was half open. I stared at it, trying to convince myself. Maybe wood creaking, maybe the AC. Then, click, louder, clear, and definitely human. My brain didn't think anymore. I felt pure instinct. Run. I jumped off the bed, yanked the door open, and sprinted out. Barefoot, hands shaking, still in pajamas. I ran straight to the car, locked all the doors, and grabbed my phone. Dialed 911. My voice was trembling. "Someone is inside the house. Please send help, please." Police arrived. They searched every room, every corner, every tiny space. There wasn't anywhere to hide. The house was too small. But I know what I heard. I know something was in that closet. I wasted no time, packed my things, left the Airbnb that same night. The next morning I texted the Airbnb owner. His reply chilled me. "3 guests before you said the same thing, that someone hangs around the house, but police never found anything." I didn't argue. I didn't ask questions. I just turned my phone off. Sometimes at night, when the room is too quiet, I still hear it, that sound. Click. Because deep down I know one thing. That wasn't a human. Whatever it was, it didn't live in the Airbnb. It lived in the desert. And creatures that live in the desert always come back.